Hi, dear participants. I am happy to welcome you all in this second day of our National Faculty Development Program, teaching and researching in language and literature classroom. I hope yesterday we had a very good session with Father Binu George about career and passion. Like that, today we people are going to listen another topic on psychology of learning. Well, telling about today's resource person, I must say something about his personality. He is not only a teacher by profession, he is a very good trainer in yoga and communication trainer. He has some certificate. He had some certificate courses from British Council for business communication, and he is an active researcher. We could not easily say that he is a man of a teacher alone. He has various experience in industry. It is quite common to know that a language teacher, a English teacher, a English literature teacher has experience in industry. While he was working at an industry, he has created a software program, especially for L&T company. And he was working, sometimes he was working as a receptionist in five-star hotels. After that, he becomes a full-time trainer for full-time. I mean, a counselor, a psychological counselor. I had met him when we were working together. I would know that I know about him when we were working together at Vivekananda College in Madurai for the period of 1 year. He was not only a teacher, he trained many students and psychologically. And he is a very good sportsman. In that college day program, he was awarded the first prize for running prize. He's a very quick man. We could not easily walk with him. He always fast, always walk fast. Like his knowledge is very fast and too wide. And he had a MA degree, MA philosophy, MA degree in philosophy. And hitherto he has completed more than 10 research articles. And he organized many programs. Like a FTP, I think he has conducted 3 FTP in Panagudi institution where he was working previously. And he has conducted an UGC organized seminar at other college. Now he is working at Perry Institute of Technology, Chennai. He is none other than Thirumalai Rajan sir, who hails from Madurai. He brought up and studied there. He awarded both the UG and PG degree from Madurai Kamaraj University and Saurashtra College, Madurai. And he was awarded a MPhil degree from Bharatiyar University. He has more than 15 years of experience in teaching profession as assistant professor, lecturer, and various designations. We are very happy to have such a personality today. Thirumalai Rajan sir, I am happy to welcome you on this second day. Please welcome sir. Now this forum is open for you. Please welcome sir.
Good morning to all. I first of all thank Dr. K. Bharadiraj, who invited me to be one of the chief guests in the 5-day FTP. Also, I thank the management of Manonmaniam Sundaranar University College, Panagudi, for accepting his obligation as the right choice. Once Dr. K. Bharadiraj shared the objectives of the FTP, I felt they were the need of the hour. Yes, all are self-locked at their home and hometown due to the pandemic situation. For some, career is at stake, and for many, life itself is at the same scenario. So at this juncture, learning is facing new challenges, and it's a different phase that is recognized and realized through existence. So I feel my part will be cleaning the dust on the mirror of everybody's understanding about what is teaching and learning. All of us are teachers teaching different age group of children. Of course, we are proud of our profession, assuming that we, as teachers, create the change makers or trendsetters of the world through generation to generation. But the first thing we all should remember is that as teachers, our impact on children is very high. Secondly, we believe that because of our teaching alone, they are achieving their target or come with flying colors. It's not so. Let us understand what happens in teaching and learning. Teaching starts from the collection of resources till delivery in the classroom. It'll be classroom if it is face to face, or by now online classes through technological gadgets. As teachers, we do multiple tasks like lesson plan, prepare notes, maintain attendance, planning, teaching methodology, classroom management, or using mix of Blackboard and PowerPoint presentations. So with all our efforts, the result ends with a delivery. In teaching learning process, the teacher's effort ends with teaching or delivery of concepts. In other words, it is nothing but sharing of information. In today's technological scenario, resources for all kinds of subjects are available within a click. The need of teachers is questionable. They can easily be replaced by a small gadgets. If COVID situation continues for an academic year, teaching career itself may turn worse and many may lose their opportunity. What we understand is, irrespective of modes of teaching or sharing of information, the effect or impact results in the receptivity level of students or learners. So we can say learning begins with the listening of students. Till COVID 19, teachers faced passivity of students in classroom listening and understanding subjects. Now, passive connectivity in online classrooms. So, whatever is done in teaching part, unless learning doesn't begin, the entire TL process is an eyewash. So, okay, let us come to learning. It is a general attitude of the people that they love to be called or projected themselves as cleverer or intelligent people. So no one will be exception for it. But are we aware what differentiates in our cleverness or intelligence? This is what our today's discussion is going to be. Let us see the nuances of how learning happens. So in other terms or synonymous, we can say knowing or understanding happens. A person lives his life completely based on his knowledge and clarity about the world. His knowledge and clarity lie in turn on his understanding. To the level of his clarity about himself, his surroundings and society, his peace and happy life is set upon. When a person learns with the help of others, other than parents, we call it studying. In the name of education, a learner goes up for about 10 to 15 years to school and learn with the help of books and teachers. If somebody learns without going to school, he or she can be called an uneducated genius. The character called Egalivan from Mahabharata is a perfect example for it. Even after school or college education, a person remains to know a lot more. As the adage goes, Katrathu Kayyalavu, Kallathathu Ulagalavu. So the translation of it goes like a learner is handful and to be learned is the size of ocean. A scientist and a physicist by name, Dr. Daniel Whiteson from CERN project declares through his book we have no idea that the entire humanity have no much idea about the universe. And Mr. David Eagleman, neuroscientist, asserts that he does not know what happens in human brain and method of decoding the system. So when we compare Orient people with the rest of the world, they stand unique by their ability to understand and thereby their inventions like zero. The research area of our ancestors were atom to atmosphere. It remains mystical and beyond our logical sense how such things were possible to them when there were no much scientific tools. The answer to that is their understanding and the ability they had in learning. And this is what I'm going to depict in bits and pieces here. So I'll quote scientific examples also for all my explanations. If you have any queries, you can post at the end of the session. The statement அண்டத்தில் உள்ளது பிண்டத்தில் பிண்டத்தில் உள்ளது அண்டத்தில், as in micro so in macro, so reveals that Indians were pioneer in research. By now, quantum physicists also agree upon this statement. As their confirmation, the statue of Lord Nadaraja has been installed in front of CERN Research Center, Geneva, which has been started to find God particle. So the next thing is the meaning of the verb knowing. So knowing is learning or understanding. Nature has gifted special abilities to all the living beings of the earth, starting from single sense plants to sixth sense human being, to understand the surrounding and fulfill their need to lead a life. The ability to change the skin tone in camouflage, and the ability to build a nest in weaver bird, and the ability to send and receive echolocation signals in dolphins are a few examples. It can be said that except human beings, all the rest use their inborn abilities in a complete manner. Human who brought everything under his control and dominated has received sixth sense called a discrimination ability, along with the other five senses like seeing, smelling, tasting, hearing and touching. There is no doubt about his effective utility of all five senses until he lived in caves, because the survival of the fittest asserts that the beings which did not use their abilities to their fullest possible will no longer survive. Even the physical parts which were not used for a long time would slowly disappear from the existence. You know the story of tail and canine teeth in humans. You may remember. Extinct of certain beings was only the result of the changes in nature. But in the history, humans will be the cause of the whole humanity's destruction if he does not understand the cause of his own mind and its part called discrimination. All the infants born on this earth come with complete six senses, but the way of life is very unique, like their appearance and thumb impression. Their surrounding and the way they are brought up limits their understanding ability. So as we all know, every life does something or other immediately after it comes out of its mother's womb. For example, cattle start walking and sucking milk from its mother, and fish swims. Human child also does suck milk from the breast. So it is an unknown aspect in learning phenomenon. Living beings come to earth with all the knowledge needed for their survival. This is what our understanding is. They come with set programs registered in each and every cell, which will manifest into actions to find food, protect from predators, and reproduce. The same registry is available in humans also. Its collection is called karma by religious people. So until he turned into Homo sapiens, his life had set as per his past record called karma. Due to the changes in food pattern and adaptability to the nature, improvement in brain size happened. The mind existing in all living beings shines as intelligence in human. A born child comes to normal life from karmic pattern by knowing it and its society. So while growing, it starts to use all five senses towards the development of its sixth sense. Born child knows its mother by its touching sense. It loves to be with its mother by identifying her warmness. Later, within a couple of months, it starts to see and listen. In the next few months, all other senses start working completely. Through eyes, it starts receiving images and colors to its brain. Likewise, sound through ears, smells through nose, all types of tastes through tongue, and climatic condition through skin get received and stored in brain. So with the help of such data, the discrimination ability identifies what is new and what is not there in the database. Database means memory, right? A child's memory. In this way, a usage of knowledge, that is sixth sense, begins to identify things and ends with classification. When the number of data increases, its permutation and combination also increases proportionately. Therefore, one's knowledge doesn't match with others. Normally, we say that we should not compare anyone with others. So this is why that's the reason why we say this. All the students studying in a class do not understand the lessons in the same manner. Moreover, the one who reads the same poem or novel again will understand differently in different times. So now let us come to the signs of knowing or learning. The information received through five senses will remain in one's experience if they are not encoded into words. For this reason, experiential knowledge is not able to be shared with others. The smell of jasmine cannot be understood through bookish knowledge or listening, but can understand through smelling it. Taste of sugar and burning of fire can be more examples. When a child starts to know the world, learning of language also begins. Without a language, learning seems to be impossible. The evolution of language remains mystical like human evolution, and different schools of thought still exist as hypotheses. Now, language means symbols and sounds. Symbols are nothing but letters of alphabet and their combination called words. And in that, the connective element is called sound or pronunciation. So all the concrete and abstract things of the world are referred by symbols called words. So each language has unique pattern in that. So a word means a combination of sounds and symbols. When the meaning is connected with them, the basics of a language is fulfilled. Each word has multiple meanings, or multiple words exist for a single meaning. They were created when humans started to live in groups and designed unique language for each. So the so-called meaning is nothing but the information we have received through senses. So the information can be one or combination of many. It means when a symbol or sound is connected with a meaning, we say that an information is saved or learned in brain. Knowing or learning is very much based on the information we have received through senses. The base for information is a language and its parts called symbol, sounds, and meaning. In the growth of a child, let us see how the collection of information and interference of a language happens. A child, first of all, knows its mother by her warmness. Once it starts to see, her image and skin tone are saved as information in its brain. So, after learn to discriminate sounds, the child identifies mother's voice and connect with her other characteristics to identify its mother. When a mother keeps addressing her, uttering the sound amma or mom or mummy, a child learns the sound and repeats to connect its mother. So, within the first 2 years, a child learns many places, things, and people through its parents and people of its close surrounding. Then it learns more by comparing, classifying, and differentiating among them. So, the same thing happens when a child starts to learn at school also. An object which cannot be shown physically to a child will be taught with the help of its image and sound associated to it. The brain of a child, too, as discussed earlier, will know by classifying, comparing, and contrasting. If the object to be learned is new, all the information needed to classify it will be in the forefront of the memory and understood. It happens like a file is searched in a computer with the help of a word or phrase. When our eyes see an object, brain immediately responds whether it is known or unknown. The classification, comparison, and differentiation happen within a fraction of time. As five senses work to collect information from the external world, the same thing happens internally in our brain too to recover as memory. Since it happens within less than a fraction of a second, we do not recognize. Searching of data from our brain at our own need is called thinking. I'm repeating, this is an important statement. Searching of data from our brain at our need is called thinking. So, though many might have known what have been discussed till now, but the followings would make you wonder and give a feeling without doubt. As we have seen, human has got sixth sense as a special feature. The important one is the aspect of mind as intelligence. Since this aspect was complete in Siddhartha Gautama, he was called Buddha. Buddha is not a name but his state of being. The role of mind is very important in knowing the worldly things. If the mind is not connected with the functions of five senses, they remain useless. For example, in the activity of seeing, object to be seen, eye, light, and part of the brain responsible for seeing are needed. To get the object registered in our brain, they are all alone not enough. With them, mind should be connected. Without the association of mind, they are useless. We have witnessed many who daydream keeping their eyes open. Sometimes we have also experienced in our deep thinking. Eyes will be wide open without seeing the objects in front of us. Function of our senses and their completeness depends the duration they associate with the mind. The successful people in all the fields would have got much the ability called presence of mind. Presence of mind means connection of mind with the action. It also means that mind's availability will remain at the moment and be conscious in the action without indulging in imagination or thinking of future. The inborn ability of all children slowly degrades in course of time. The reasons are their food culture and activities undertaken in the life exposure. It is important to note the usage of a word conscious here. When an action is done, two kinds of mindset are expected: concentration and attention. Though they seem to be same, a little difference is there between them. When we have more thoughts in our mind and try to focus on a work, we call concentration. Here, friction will exist between our thoughts and effort. This struggle will happen every moment. In turn, when there is no thought in mind and involves in an action, we call attention. This situation can be called open mind state also. At this juncture, the receptivity of mind will be tremendous. At such time of zero distraction, chance of learning will be very, very high. The thoughtless state of mind is called consciousness in spirituality. Sage Patanjali, who is called the father of yoga, says in his Yoga Sutra, undisturbed mind is called yoga. So the same thing in Sanskrit is said chitta vritti nirodha. So it is not only applicable in spirituality but also worldly affairs. In spiritual world, knowing is called seeing or watching. It is known from Kandavar Vindilar and Vindavar Kandilar, which means one who has seen has not revealed, and one who has revealed has not seen. Here, Konadal means seeing or knowing, and Kandavar means the one who has seen or known. The sages who wrote Vedas are referred as mantra drastakal. So here, drasta means seeing, and drastakal means one who sees mantras. From these two, our ancestors have meant seeing is knowing or understanding. The word seeing is not referred here as the action carried out by our external eyes, but a seeing by internal eye with complete awareness and a thoughtless mind. What does seeing through internal eye mean? What happens when we see through external eyes? When we see an external object with the help of our eyes, light falls on the object, gets reflected, goes into the eyes, and falls upside down in the retina. Then the picture is taken to the brain, and the information like color, shape, smell, etc. of the object is saved. Along with them, as part of language, a word with symbols and sound associated with the object is getting saved as information. This is called knowing or learning. When we look at the same object again, mind recollects all the saved information from brain. It means that the data collected or saved in the past are brought to the present. Such remembering would be initiated consciously in childhood days. So the same actions over a period of time will turn into habit, and the known information about the object we see will come to our mind automatically as memory and disturb the entirety of present action. So we have to understand this point very carefully. When we look at the same object again, mind recollects all the saved information from our brain. It means that the data collected or saved in the past are brought to the present. Such remembering would be initiated consciously in childhood days. The same actions over a period of time will turn into habit, and the known information about the object we see will come to our mind automatically as memory and disturb the entirety, the completeness of present action. How do we understand a person? Let us see an example. To understand a person, we consider his way of talk and action as measuring tools. But fixing a person's attitude based on them, which are temporary and responses of that particular moment, will obviously be wrong because they are projections of unstable mind. The very nature of nature is incessant change. It has to be kept in everybody's mind that the very nature of nature is incessant change. We would have heard of the phrase, change is inevitable. Matram ஒன்றே மாறாதது. So the such thing we have to remember. Right? Human mind, being a part of nature, undergoes changes every moment. A particular character cannot be fixed to a person as a permanent one. Then how do we understand a person? The very mindset which helped to know an object is required here too. We should not fix an image about a person simply by seeing his appearance or the way he is. If we do so, it will be only our assumption and not true. Mind will be a wavering from past to future instead of being at the present moment and understand the object seen. For example, when a teacher teaches in a classroom, the idea of teacher's appearance and the memory of previous day movie and all sort of past data will be the hindrances in students' mind than understanding the subject. From this, it is understood that the wholeness of mind is important and its lack of completeness will create a huge gap in learning. If somebody's mind is not in his control and functions in its own course, it is definitely a drawback in learning. Whether we learn science or spirituality, it is important to observe completely without preconception. Completeness means 100%, not even 1% less than that. Whether it is being or doing, it must be 100%. If the action be seeing, listening, writing, thinking, laughing, it must be complete. Even in the simple actions like sleeping or being silent, it is needed to be absolute. So you can ask whether we are not complete. Yes, absolutely, the answer is yes. We are not complete. If there is a disturbance of one action in another, definitely both are incomplete. Thoughts start generating in a child which crossed 5 years old. Mind will start roaming like anything. Then overlapping will be common while listening the class, thinking of games and movie, or while watching movie, thinking of classroom activities. Likewise, mind will slip away from getting connected in the present act and swing between past memory and future plan. So when we look at a beautiful drawing, mind says, what a beautiful picture it is. Then starts evaluating the talent of a painter and fixes a price value to it based on its positives and negatives. So in this way, mind keeps chattering within. Whatever we see, our mind will start talking about the object or person or place seen. So definitely the action of seeing never happens completely. The internal chatterings should stop. While seeing, mind should be fully involved in the action. Any sense with a zero thought in mind will be at its fullest capacity. Such action is called learning. Yes, without any thought process, if you do something with a calm mind, learning happens. We could have witnessed something in our classroom. So normally the students who are quiet in the class will be good at studies. At least their listening ability will be good. Their very listening will help to recollect what was discussed about the concepts or subject matter in the later days. So by watching this video, you may be understanding how the chick learned. When the mother bird was trying to teach in her own style, the chick was not ready to listen. But when it started to observe how other creatures are trying to find food. It also imitated the same and was so successful in finding food, not only for itself or its family, but for the entire group. So I think this video would have made you understand better how learning happens by observing. Okay, let us come to the next part of the FGP. Nowadays, this subject, the course literature is very much appreciated by more number of students. At the few decades before, 2 to 3 decades before, students joining in literature course were very less. The number of strength, the class strength would be very less, around 30 to 40. Compared to other courses, it will be very much less. Maybe 50% of the seats alone will get filled. And nowadays, if you look at it, literature course also gets around 50 to 60 students in all the classes, in all the years. So that much importance has been felt by the students community in studying language and literature. So, but still the interest of the students lie very low. Their level is very low compared to other courses in arts and science itself. But in the few years back, professional courses were very much dominant in the minds of students. After higher secondary, they all liked to join engineering. But now, from the last 1 or 2 years, even that also is facing downward trend. But why should we study literature? So actually, it's a big question. Many of the students and teachers may not know, and what we get through the literature. Let us see that in a few slides. Okay, so well, first of all, the arts and science students always compare themselves with the professional course students, and they always look upon the students from arts and science college always look upon the other students from different professional courses. But what is professional course? So when we understand the definition of professional, then you can come to a point whether you are less or equal or more than professional courses. What arts and science students are doing is comparable to other courses. So professional course, even in the professional institutions, I used to ask this question to students because they are doing engineering, and which is a professional course, but it is a very basic thing to know the definition of professional. So professional courses are meant for a particular job. When a student completes higher secondary and selects a particular course and joins a college, there itself he or she decides what job is going to be for himself or herself. So the profession is decided, fixed in the course of study itself, in the undergraduate itself. So after completing the undergraduation, the thing that was studied will be applied in their career. So therefore, such courses are called professional courses. People of arts and science, the students of arts and science colleges now may ask you, are we not going to work according to our studies? Are the subject knowledge of our courses not going to help us to carry out the work? Yes, it is partly correct. Once a student completes physics, BSc Physics or BSc Maths, it doesn't mean that definitely a job will be fixed for a particular course like BSc Computer Science or BSc Physics alone. Those students have to complete their master degree
and increase their level of knowledge and expertise, and then move on to the further like MPhil and PhD, so that they can do something great in the particular subject, because at undergraduate level the subjects are very much limited. So after that a very basic knowledge of the subject alone will be there with the students, and they have to further study something like master degree or doctoral degree. Unless and until they do such things, they can study further, they cannot do any of the job related to that, they cannot do any big thing in that. So they will be they have to choose a job which can be done by any other course students also. So therefore those courses are not called professional, but whereas medicine, engineering, law, all these things are called professional courses, because the course is designed to do a particular job. So they have this, the graduates will definitely apply the knowledge studied in their undergraduation and post graduation in their career, immediate career. So that's why those courses are called professional courses. And then it is a very general question, why do we study? Because in the course of education, students go with their own choices. Out of their passion towards a particular course, they choose and study. But still, what is the objective of study should be understood by the entire learning community, students community. So if you look at the very basics, a child starts learning in a primary level what is what. So very basic things, the shapes, the learning starts from understanding the shapes, identifying the objects which are useful in a day-to-day life. So that's how the subjects of a primary level starts. And then when the child moves to the secondary level, the subjects subject knowledge gets deepened. So when you compare a child's knowledge of a human body in the primary level, a child learns the parts of a body. Maybe the outline of a small boy will be there in the book, and all the parts would have been identified, like head, hands, knee, eyes. All these things are very basics. When the same child goes to the secondary level, it will start reading the internal organs like heart, kidneys, brain, all these little bit subtle level. I mean, the things which are not visible from the outside naked eye will be studied in the secondary level. And when the same child moves to the higher secondary level, after 10th standard, it has to move, right? A child has to choose, a learner, a student has to choose a particular course. Okay, so it is the subject knowledge is getting narrowed down. So in the beginning, in the primary and secondary level, vast knowledge will be studied by kids, by children, right? The subject will be common to all, and after 10th standard, it's a little bit extra step a child moves. So therefore, a particular course, I mean branch has to be selected, like first group, second group, I mean purely science or science with maths or commerce and vocational. Such narrowing down will happen when a learner, when a student moves from SSLC to higher secondary, secondary to higher secondary. So after higher secondary, what happens? Again, the subjects will be limited. So the particular subject in which the student is interested, the learner is interested, will be chosen as an undergraduation. So, that is where it comes professional degree and arts and science. If a student is interested in physics, he or she will take BSc Physics. So, during the undergraduation, all the 3 years, 6 semesters, a student will be studying about physics. Maybe 1 or 2 papers as an ancillary will be studied by him or her. But beyond that, a student will be learning complete thorough knowledge of physics, but still it is not in-depth knowledge of it's not in-depth knowledge of physics. But still, if a child wants to do master degree, again the subject will be narrowed down, and in master degree only a few papers will be studied, but still in depth of that particular subject. So, even that 4 semesters, 2 years, a student will be learning about the same subject, but very much deep knowledge of that, which were not at all touched in undergraduation and school days. So, then after master degree, what happens? Again, philosophy, MPhil or PhD. Okay. So, here the word philosophy comes into the picture. Whatever the subject student does, studies, the doctoral degree is called Doctor of Philosophy, or if it is arts and science, a Master of Philosophy is done with the term philosophy. So, it is a big question everybody may have. Okay. So, what are the subject we study, whether it is maths or physics or literature or economics or even in medicine or engineering, whatever a student studies. When it comes to research degree, the title is given as Master of Philosophy or Doctor of Philosophy. Why should we have this term? So, if you look at the meaning of philosophy, if you look at the etymology of the word, okay, the word origin of the word philosophy, we will understand. So, philosophy is divided into phileo plus sophia. Phileo means loving or lover, sophia means wisdom. See, the purpose of study is understood here by coming to know how the broad way of studying gets narrowed down when the standard increases, and when the graduation, when the student comes to higher education, subject knowledge is getting deeper and narrowed down. So, filio means a loving or lover, but sophia means wisdom. So, one who loves wisdom will be called is called philosophy, a philosopher. A philosopher is the one who loves wisdom, one who speaks, finds truth, right. So, the entire education leads to get a degree like Master of Philosophy or Doctor of Philosophy. Doctor means, it is a common term, who diagnoses, who tries to find out, right, dissect and understand what is the problem, what is there. So, a person who does Doctor of Philosophy is definitely a lover of wisdom and the lover to understand what is true, right. So, the entire education leads to understand, know the truth existing in the world, not something wrong, not assumptions. So, a study takes a person from a broader understanding of the world into from a broader level of understanding of the world to the minute part, any one message, one topic. See, in a Master of Philosophy in doctoral degree, though we have chosen a particular subject, but in the research degree, we would have chosen a particular concept, not the entire subject, but only one concept, one idea alone will be chosen and done a big sort of research, and around 200 to 300 pages of document is getting ready towards the idea, whether something said is true or incorrect, or something false is there. So, that is what we call research degree, and finally, we declare such true things to the world through the research. So, from this we understand the purpose of studies. It is not for a job alone. People in general believe that education is meant for getting a job. No, that was not the case. It may be the secondary, it may get secondary importance, but the primary thing is to know what is what. So, that attitude will be applied in understanding who I am and what is the world, what is the society, what is life. To understand everything, education helps. So, and about the professional courses, and now we have understood why we study. And see, one example I want to quote here, it does not mean that one who studies professional course alone will become professional, right. One will follow professionalism and will have a talent of professionalism. No. So, the very live example you can take, the Mumbai's Dabbawala. See, it is an organization completely run by uneducated people, illiterate people. So, 10 years back, Dabbawala organization was given a reward called 6 Sigma. It is actually a rating. 6 Sigma rating is awarded to a company, means actually out of 2 months, hardly 1 or 2 mistakes happens in the company. So, if it is the case, the organization will be given 6 Sigma rating. So, such error free operation was carried out in the institution, because actually their basic business is collecting food from home and delivering the food boxes, tiffin boxes to to the people who are working in offices. So, instead of carrying the lunch box from in the morning itself, they go to the office, and these dabbawalas take the responsibility of collecting a particular tiffin box, right, from a particular house, and they carry all the way through to the office, and in the evening the same tiffin box returns to the exact house. So, even 1 lakh, 5 lakhs tiffin boxes they have been transferring every day by 500 dabbawalas. The mistake rate, percentage of mistake is very less. Such a phenomenal system they had, though they are illiterate people, their commitment was so good, and therefore mistakes were very less, 1 or 2 in the 2 months of operation, 60 days of operation. So, therefore, that Dabbawala organization was given 6 Sigma rating, and it became one of the lessons to MBA students, Master of Business Administration. So, in my master degree, students were learning about how professional the people are, the Dabbawalas are, who are working in Mumbai. So, we understand that professionalism does not mean that we get through our education, through our courses, but actually it is all about our actions, the way we plan and execute our jobs, works. So, even a petty shop owner can be professional, an idliwala can be professional, a hawker can be professional in his own work. So, it does not mean that by studying professional courses people become professional. No, that is not the case. So, there is no relevance, I mean no need to look upon the professional courses, right. Whatever we study, it is all in the hands of execution, planning and execution. So, arts and science does not is not very low in profile compared to professional courses, right. It is not the way, it is not the case. And if you look at why students study literature and what is the mindset of them when they join the course and during the course and even after completing the course. See, language, we have to understand a few things about what a language is and what a literature is. As we have seen, the role of a language in learning, in knowing, in understanding, right? So, in our discussion, we have seen how a language, the role of a language, like words connected to a particular object, will be helpful in knowing. So, that part has been discussed, and literature is treated as history. See, it is very important to understand history of our nation, history of the world. See, actually, Indians are very far ahead. They were very much far ahead in all the fields a few centuries before, until the British people came to India for business and started to rule. So, particularly we should talk about Macaulay's report here. Um, See, after seeing our tradition, our culture, the Westerners who came to India to rule couldn't succeed. They tried in many possible ways, but they couldn't completely crush our culture and system of education. But finally, after Macaulay prepared a report and submitted in the British Parliament, they found that they have to completely eradicate our education system, so that their Western culture ideas will be implemented. And science education, that's how science education came to India. So, in the 200 years of British rule, our entire history has been disconnected in the minds of people, Indian people. So, therefore, we have lost our origin, we have forgotten our age old tradition and culture. So, history has to be studied. So, literature brings the history of the past to the present. When you read literature, it is not only a written document, right? It is not only it's a mindset of people alone. It's actually a mirror of life. Literature reflects how people lived, what were their ideas about everything. So, by reading literature, we come to know the history. So, it does not mean that literature means only English literature. Whatever the literature you study, you will come to know how that particular people of that particular region lived. So, entire lifestyle of the people we come to know through literature. So, in that way we can say literature is history. And language also you learn. Language is not only for communication. Actually, through communication, we understand the knowledge of the people, right? So, knowledge of the people has been recorded in the form of writing, in the form of language. So, when we use the same language, see, in India, in Tamil Nadu, Tamil has been seen as a age-old language, right? It's Sendamil, Parandamil we call it. Such old language is this Tamil. So, by preserving this language, right, we preserve the knowledge also. The people who lived thousands of years before, 5,000 years before, their knowledge we may not know, we do not get their brain to dissect and understand, but still whatever they have understood has been recorded in the form of language, words. When you use the same word, you will also understand. But the little thing is, you have to read in an in-depth level. So, you should not take the very haphazard meaning of the words, but you have to look into the word origin, so that you will understand the real potential of the language. So, I would say So, I have given a few example here. So, see thousands of years before, a knowledge called Vedas, Vedas were studied. Okay, so for that there is no record. People didn't record such universal repository of knowledge. Actually, it was communicated orally. People were afraid of. They had known that by recording a message, knowledge part, definitely a misinterpretation, miscommunication will happen. So, therefore, they orally transferred. But if they want to communicate, they recorded. After some time, they recorded, but in the form of poetry. So, poetry is very difficult to read and understand, people know that. So, those who are very much uh, passionate about knowing the past will take much effort, strive a lot to read the poetry, and the deserving people alone will get that knowledge through the poetry. So, all the knowledge part of the past was recorded in the form of poetry, not like prose. So, therefore, we may not understand simply, right. So, miscommunication may not happen. And if you look at a few words, I too understand some in-depth knowledge of our ancestors through these words. Sat. When my professor taught me, he said, what is Sat? Sat, Chit, Ananda. See, there are many words which people used, but actually we may not know the meaning. Satyam, the word Sat uh, has a rich meaning. It means truth. Sat means truth. But how do we understand? But these examples, through the examples, my professor explained. Sattana porul, sat plus ana porul. We may not dissect the word and understand, but actually that's how we should read. The word sattana, it has to be differentiated or separated. Sat ana. Sat means unmai. So there is a truth in all the things, in a fruit. Therefore we call sattana porul, sattana param, right? Sattana unavu vagaikal. See, sat. So when there is a phosphorus in the soil, and when a plant grows, that will observe, grasp the element from the earth, and it takes to the branch and leaves and fruits and vegetables, and the same phosphorus or calcium or whatever observed, sucked from the earth, will be there in the fruit or vegetable or leaves also. And the same thing a cattle or a human being eats, and the same nutritional values in nutritions is observed into the body, and once the body dies, again the body goes to the earth, and again the same phosphorus or calcium or whatever, potassium, will again get into soil. So it's a kind of cycle. But that sat means truth. What was already there in the soil will never get changed, but the shape alone, its place, its living place may be there, different, maybe earlier in the soil, then in the plant, then in the human body, then again the same thing goes to the soil. So the place of living may be different, but the truth will never change. Therefore we call such things as sat. So sattana, satyam. So that's how the word is. And if you look at the word tapas, its meaning of the word tapas is heat. By meditating, tapas means heat. By sitting in one place, the sages, rishis, increased the heat. When they increase the heat, their ether in the body will expand. So, these are all scientific things related to physiology. Okay, so tapas means heat. So, by doing continuously the meditation, people increased their body heat, so that the elements got expanded and they got more ether, more space within the body, and therefore the communication in the body was better. Communication between the body and the nature was so good, and that's how tapasvis, the rishis, were able to be they were able to shine in all the fields, starting from astrology to medicine. So, tapas means heat. So, heat is an important element um, for meditators. So, that is how through the words we understand the truth. And the word, English word lunar, if you look at, it is an adjective form of moon. So, why did people call moon as lunar? Because the word lunar has origin like lunatic. Lunar and lunatic are all same family words. So, lunatic has different meaning, right? Lunatic means mentally retarded. I mean, one whose mind is not stable, okay, and not functioning well. Such people are called a lunatic. So, the I mean, the health of mental health is connected with the moon. Somehow they people had known this idea, therefore the word has been coined, the word has been designed in a way that the word mental health and moon, both the things are connected, therefore the word lunatic, right. During the full moon days and new moon days, the mentally retarded people will react in a different way. So, something is there, people had known the connectivity of moon and human mind, how they are connected, how they are communicating, how they are impacted, right, one on other. So, therefore, the word adjective form of moon has been fixed as lunar and lunatic. And if you look at this etymology of words, definitely you will enjoy learning a language. You will be getting the repository of knowledge what our ancestors had. So, language is not a language alone, it is a repository, right. And language means communication. Yeah. So, when you look at the purpose of language, people have been talking about this employability skills, soft skills, and the importance of communication. One who knows this subject should definitely be a good communicator, otherwise their success in accumulating the knowledge will be waste. So, a good academician should be a good communicator too. One who completes a degree with 9.5 or above 9 CGPA should be able to share his ideas uh, in a pleasant way and in an understandable way to the others. Only then he would be he would get a good job and he will be successful in his life too. It's not only for job, communication is very much needed to live a happy life. A lot of successful people, in the sense those who got a good job and settled in life, may not lead a happy life because of poor communication among the family members, maybe between couples, sometimes between a father and son, mother and daughter, and with relatives. They may not have a good terms. It's due to poor communication. They may be knowledgeable, but if they are weak in communication, life will be very horrible. So, that communication we learn through language. So, very basic thing I tell you here, these 4 types of sentences. When we study the language, the very basic thing, the class starts with 4 types of sentences, and if a learner understands these 4 types of sentences and apply in real life, definitely there won't be problem at all in the life, in a normal day to day life. So what are the 4 types of sentences? So first thing is statement, second one is imperative, third one is interrogative, last one is exclamatory. All these 4 types people know in general, but they are not applying it. They see it only a part of a language, part of grammar. But actually, from my understanding, I say if you follow these 4 types of sentence, if you remember these 4 types and respond accordingly, you will never ever have a misunderstanding, okay, problem with anyone else. If somebody says an idea, if you consider that it is his assertion, it is his statement, you will not respond, right? Your response is required, expected only when there is an interrogative sentence. If it is imperative sentence, the response is an action. The response from your side is expected as an action, right? If it may be a request, or if it may be a command. So that only when you hear, when you listen an imperative sentence from others, you can it is your choice to react through actions, or else you can politely say. If it is a statement, see, everybody in the world has opinion to say. They have rights. They have rights to say their opinion. So immediately you don't need to disobey their idea. Immediately you don't need to give counter attack to them. You can understand that. Okay, so it's a statement. It's a mere statement. Everybody has got a right to share their opinions. So you will generally consider that if you know the type of sentence people use in front of you. Only when people use interrogative sentences, definitely you will understand, okay, it is a question. It is your turn to respond to them, answer to them. Maybe if it is yes or no question, you can limit yourself with saying only yes or no. If it is a double edged question, you can respond if you know the answer, or else you don't need to argue with them. So when somebody speaks, if you are good at language, if you always remember these 4 types of sentences, definitely you will understand what is your part. Okay, so what is your response should be. So in that way, language helps you to communicate better and lead a happy life. So with this, we stop here our discussion. Let us have question and answer session if you want to have. Thank you to all for your patient listening.
I have great privilege to extend my gratitude to Thirumalai Rajan sir. I believe that Sir Thirumalai Rajan sir, you had done a very good presentation, a thought-provoking ideas. Your ideas cannot be compared with any other teachers. The psychology, it's a very difficult field. People like me, I mean, teachers like me, when I was studying in MPhil, there is a paper I had, a psychology based on the psychology. I was afraid to read, and I was afraid to even listen to my teachers about the psychology, because we have a predetermined idea that the psychology is a difficult subject. But you were talking about the psychology of learning is a completely a scientific topic. It's very rare to get from a language teacher talking about psychology. How the psychology works, which you had taken today, is different from all our field, all our learning field. I strongly believe that our participants may agree with your notions. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your beautiful and thought-provoking, once again, a thought-provoking presentation. Thank you. Thank you very much. Dear participants, I have an important announcement for you. Like I said yesterday, attendance is mandatory for all the days. We are posting feedback form at the end of the command box. It is pinned. Simultaneously, at the end of the session, I will post the same feedback in chat box. Please don't worry about that. We are not going to do anything for your feedback link. The feedback link has more than 7 questions. You should answer for all the questions. It is mandatory. The organizing committee has made it mandatory for all the participants. As I said yesterday, this program is not for getting certificates alone. Program is for eye-opening the young and well-read scholars and our experienced teachers. Thank you. Thank you very much. Here I am signing off, Dr. Bharati Raj. Until meet you tomorrow by the same time, 10:30 a.m. I wish you all have a nice day. Thank you. Thank you for your participation.